fear is not a moral failing, though a lot of people treat it like one. Fear is something that happens to everyone. We see something we don't know what is, something bad happens, we get news that we don't know exactly how to react to. Fear comes roaring right through us. The real sign of our character is not that we don't have fear. It's how we react and act once that fear has hit us. Can we resist our instincts of fight, flight, or freeze, or we just succumb to them? Today, we're going to be talking about how to overcome fear, how to break free and find courage in a world like this one. So let's talk about that as we walk together down Creation's path. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie. I'm a Christopagan Druid and priest of Bridget.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian. I'm a Christopagan Druid and sous chef to the Dogda.
Today, we're going to be talking about fear, courage, and the beginning of the new year, because we're here at the Jewish New Year, or very close to it, depending on when you listen to the episode. The next two episodes we planned out months ago, and I feel like the spirit was moving to get us to have them on the schedule because they are more on point than I thought they were going to be at this time in my life. But don't turn off the episode if you're like, I don't need to hear that. We're not going to be wallowing in fear. We're going to be talking about practical, useful ways that we can overcome it, how we can jump over it, and how we can get to the other side. But before we get into all that, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever the terminology happens to be on whatever the app is you're listening to us on. And if you really like what we're doing, you can support us on Patreon, Coffee, or over on our Substack, where we post regular devotionals for the 4 quarters of the moon. Trust me, you don't want to miss a thing that we've got planned. We've got a lot of really fun stuff coming up. Let's just get into it now, shall we? All right. So I have been thinking a lot lately about Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's idea of the cocoon from his book, Shambhala. He discusses the cocoon as the state that we live in, the place that we build around ourselves, where we feel safe, where we have set everything up in such a way that the negativity of the world, the darkness in the world, the pain and misery of the world just can't get to us. We feel isolated. The more I look at our modern life, the more I feel like we have done this in our social media accounts, where we're not following and we're blocking all of the people that disagree with us. We're creating our little filter bubbles. We're having the larger companies such as Google create those filter bubbles so our searches aren't even the same. We're all walled up into our houses and we're not going out. We're not meeting each other as much as we used to. This cocoon has really become literalized in the last 10 years in a way that I honestly couldn't have predicted. As somebody who remembers the bright, optimistic early days of the internet, one of the things that excited me about it is I met a bunch of new people and started going out more and hanging out with people more and being out and connected with people more. The idea that it would eventually lead to this isolation that so many people are experiencing just frankly boggles my mind.
It really is unfortunate because it was all about being able to share ideas and meet with each other. That really does breed a sense of loss and a fear of what else could be lost. And a lot of people act with fear over, do I leave a comment just because I don't want to have to deal with somebody attacking me or getting canceled because I had a genuine thought and wanted to share a thing. Yeah, it was kind of dumb to share a lunch on Facebook, but at the same time, it was genuine.
I miss people's lunches.
It was like we allowed our hearts to harden over that and started attacking people or sharing their lunches to the point where nobody does anymore. Like, we were too cool for that. It was almost like when you're watching children grow up and they go through that phase in their growth when they have to be too cool for this, too cool for that. They harden their hearts, and through fear, they turn away from things that genuinely would bring them joy. They stop doing it and wall themselves up in their little cocoon, as Charlie was saying.
I think you set this up just perfectly. I mean, that's really what's going on here. What we have seen what we're currently experiencing and going through is very much this weird artifact of wanting to have authenticity and manufacturing that authenticity to the point where we're just fake now. And I don't mean fake in that people online don't mean what they say or anything like that. I think a lot of people do, but it's filtered through what is going to sound the most authentic. How can I say this in the most culturally resonant way? And that has bred a lot of anger and fear. The biggest thing that I'm struggling with right now is how much of our media, how much of our culture has been consumed with this just poisonous cynicism that has forgotten to unironically love things. Actually caring about others, caring about anything is somehow cringe. It always gets labeled as cringy to actually care, to actually love something, to have a honest, full, open-hearted belief that what you care about matters.
But this is where, in my head, I started years ago when having to deal with a lot of this in the gay community, in the queer community. We already had to deal with this. Now everybody has to deal with this because it's almost like the same thing all over again. But now in political and sports ball and all this stuff, we have to send secret signals to find out, is this person okay to talk with, or is this not a safe space? The queer community learned a long time ago how to fight this, how to get through it. It's about finding what you love and unashamedly engaging in what you love. It's all about what you love, not about what you hate. The problem is that once you go down the dark path, forever will shall haunt your destiny. We'll go ahead and throw Star Wars in there. For those playing the bingo game, you can mark that off your spot. But it is so true. So many just engage in hate. This is where I look at Nietzsche when he was talking about the preachers of death. Preachers of death that I've now put into my head, like the preachers of hate are the preachers of death. Those that all they can do is hate or oppose a thing instead of love a thing. I find it really fascinating sometimes when I hear somebody going on about how much they hate, because it's so easy to go down that path, to just stop the conversation and go, what do you actually love?
Yeah, Nietzsche is a very complicated character to try to wrap your head around because he said a lot of good things. He said a lot of bad things. He's, like most people, a mixed bag. But I feel like he really nailed it with his idea of the preachers of death. They are the ones that are going to go around trying to convince everyone that they are somehow, because they're in this in-group or that in-group, better than everyone else. And that the only thing to do is work till you die, be as hostile and aggressive as you can possibly be. And that these are the weak ones, that these are the ones that are so afraid of life that they are not taking stock of what they actually care about, what actually matters to them. And we really are living in that time period where I am so tired of talking about what I hate. I'm so tired about talking about what scares me, what freaks me out, because I think we share those things in common. I don't need to rehash recent news. I don't need to go into the events that are going on right now. I think we all kind of know the things out there that are scary, but I don't think we combat them by pointing at them and going, ooh, scary. Nobody has ever frightened off a bear by just cowering in front of it. You have to have your plans. You have to know what you want to save, and you have to do whatever you have to do to save it. We have forgotten not just to love, but to defend what we love and to spend our time and energy in this life actually focusing on that. Because that is where we actually draw power from. The great secret of life that they don't tell you when you're young is that all the passion that you have really matters. But that passion only matters when you are acting from that place that continuously reinvigorates you. Hate, fear, and all of those emotions do quickly draw people together. They gather a crowd. They are wearing on people. It's like trying to run an engine without oil. The gears wear down. The gears overheat, and eventually they start breaking. You have to have something there that you actually care about, that we are not taking that time to actually talk about the good things. And I don't mean this in like, ignore the bad stuff, everything will fix itself. No. We can talk about free speech, but are we actually sharing free speech? Are we participating in it? Are we supporting those who are exercising it? It's one thing to say, I will defend this. It's another thing to actually defend it, to make sure that people who have a voice have the means, have the ability to get that voice out there. We can talk about how bad mainstream media is. Are we supporting independent media? And if so, how? It's by strengthening those things. We fortify both ourselves and our society to be able to withstand. I like to think about what's going on right now. When I'm talking with my friends about this, we often analogize it to a hurricane. Yelling at the wind does not make the wind leave you alone. And I'm not saying don't protest. I'm saying if you're only protesting and not building towards a movement, say for the next election, or for mutual aid in your community, or for mutual aid through the hard financial times that are already upon us, all of the yelling in the world isn't going to save us, because we're going to have to struggle so hard. We have to be building. We have to be making something. We have to be putting something into this world that will leave it better than when we found it. Just saying this is bad or that is bad, or I don't want this to happen, or I want this to happen. Nice words. But as the Apostle James says, faith without works is dead. You tell me about what you believe, and by my works you will know what I believe. That's the thing. We need to be putting the work in. What are we building? What are we setting up for the future? What are we doing to actually make this better? We have to take the opportunities that we have as long as we have them.
This is why I go on about taking that time to figure out your core things. What is it at your core? What do you truly love? Because at everybody's core, we want to live a good life. What does it actually mean to you to have a good life? This is the perfect time to pull out your journal, as Charlie would say. It's time to get the journal out and write it down. Don't have judgment over your answers. Just write it down and look at it. Does this really energize you and bring you life? Because the capitalistic brainwash that we all suffer under told us having a good job is what brings us joy. If it's on there, then it's okay, but now go back and write some more stuff down, because when you get to what means a good life for you, for most of us, it goes back to that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Our basic needs, eating, drinking, shelter, all that stuff. Yes, we want that. We all need that. Everybody needs that. And having a good job doesn't necessarily mean you'll have those things.
I get so frustrated that it's only religious people who are working towards some form of ordination, either going towards the priesthood or something else. Talk about their vocation, their calling. What are they called to do? Because everybody else is looking for a job. It gets really frustrating, especially when I see people going for that line of work who are looking at it as a job. No, it's not. Everyone has something deep down inside that they long to do, that down in your bones is the thing you want to do. It may be tricky for you to find it. I'm not saying that everyone knows exactly what it is, but we all have that. But we live in a system that prevents us from living in our vocation. And that is the real problem. We're living in a system that is preventing us from actually being able to follow our dreams. We say it all the time, right? Follow your dreams, follow your bliss. But we live in a world where systemically everything is against you to prevent that from happening. That's what I mean when I say we need to be building something. It's not good enough just to say, I want artists and authors to be able to make a living off of their work. Okay, great. How are you actually accomplishing that? Because not shopping at Amazon is not the great win that most people think it is.
That is the negative of an action. That is not doing a thing. That can be the beginning, but that can't be the end. It's like, what are you doing? Because yes, we all have our limitations. We all have our struggles. We all have budgets. It doesn't matter whether you have a 6-figure income or no income. You have a budget of some fashion. And with that, it's looking at what you do have and what you can do, and then making those conscious choices.
See, I want to correct you just slightly in this. It's not that you're wrong. It's that so many in our generation and the ones after us have bought into a lie. And this is what has caused this epidemic of fear. I remember living through the 80s and seeing everything labeled the me generation. They convinced us that we were alone, that we were isolated. You can hear it even in the way Brian and I are speaking right now. We're so infected with this idea of what I have to do, what you have to do. Here, we have forgotten what we have to do. The whole point of the me generation and instilling this solipsistic me attitude into people is to keep us from realizing our collective power. And that's what everything going on right now is all about. It's about trying to demonstrate our lack of collective power. And that's what we have to fight against. When I say, what are you building? It's not that you personally have to go out and save democracy or save the economy or do what you have to do, what I have to do. What we have to do is build. We live in a two-party system. Maybe if everybody who had the same ideas just picked a party and took it over and got it to do the things that needs to be done. Because we know the other side did that. It's about finding ways to come together in consensus to make collective action possible. That's how we got all of the rights that we have now. That's how we got the world that we have right now. If it wasn't for a bunch of British nobles banding together against their king, we would not have gotten the Magna Carta. It took them, even them, having to do collective bargaining. A whole bunch of rebels here in the United States banded together, petitioned the king for grievances, fought a revolution, and then had to come back together and negotiate a collective contract for how to live together as a society. Every generation has to renegotiate that contract. That's a we project, not a me project, not a you project. I feel like so much of the fear and doubt that I see when I'm in social media, when I'm talking to friends, is rooted in this, I just don't know what to do. Join something, become a part of something. Find a group that aligns with your ideas for what needs to go forward, join them and see how you can support them. That might be doing phone calling, that might be doing letter writing. Maybe you have artistic skills that you can lend, other creative skills that you can lend. This, find a way to plug in, because the answer to this is not going to be, I'm going to write the blue sky post that saves the world. None of us are going to write the blue sky post that saves the world, or the Substack newsletter that saves the world, or the YouTube video, or the TikTok video. That's not going to happen. Now we need those Thomas Paines out there, waking people up and getting people out there on the streets working for that collective goal. Thomas Paine brought about 2 revolutions in 2 very distinct countries because his words were that powerful. Maybe we need some of that. But if we're not organizing, if we're not creating that collective strength, those mutual aid networks, I don't know what we are really doing. The only way those who are seeking power right now win is if they make us feel alone and powerless.
So true.
That's the way it's always been. They have always been a minority. They will always be a minority. And we can't expect the other great powers to come save us. Corporations have and will always side with power unless they feel they have enough power to just take over themselves. And if you don't understand that, look at the history of India. The East India Trade Company made friends with the Mughal Empire, working with the Mughal Emperor until they realized, hey, we can just take over. But they worked within the system until they could take over the system. None of that's a win for us. They are not going to save us. We are going to save us. I'm so sick and tired of people saying the phrase, no one is coming to save you, because we are going to save us. We don't need an external savior to come and save us. We're all empowered with the one life flowing through us. We are all collectively, especially all of the Christian, with all of the Christopagan and Christian siblings, sisters, and brothers out there, one body in Christ. And if we could come together like those antichrists out there have, we would have the power to make sure that the hungry are fed, the thirsty have water, and all the things that Christ actually commanded us to do. And that's how we overcome fear. One, we realize that we are not alone. And once we do, we organize and become part of that greater whole that will get us to where we need to go. Because there have always been, and there will always be, more of us struggling to get by than there are those who think that they can control everything. Organize, organize, organize. I hope this episode has helped you. I hope that you've gotten something out of this. Now, you'll notice we didn't give a list of places to go sign up and join. I don't want to endorse anybody right now. Do your vetting. Make sure that there are people that actually align and are not just trying to recuperate your feelings of injustice for their own gain. But there are a lot of those groups out there. There are a lot of those people out there. We will get through. Time is literally on our side. Thank you for listening. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Keep it polite down in the comments. I will be deleting people who are being rude or obstructive. We're here for what we love, not for what we hate. If you're listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, or CreationsPaths.com, you can leave a comment right there. If you're listening to us anywhere else, even if they say you can leave a comment, they don't notify us, so we won't know. But you can leave a comment there anyway, because engagement is magic. And then head over to CreationsPaths.com, click on chat, and you can leave a message there, and we will see it, and we will be able to get back to you. While you're there, if you happen to have a few dollars, you can pass our way. We offer monthly and annual memberships. You can also support us on Patreon and Ko-fi. I am CE Dorset on both, and you can support us using the Cash App hashtag CreationsPaths. Thank you to everybody who does that. We are ever so grateful. Thank you so much. You all really do help us keep the lights on, keep a roof over our head, and food on our table. If we've ever said anything that's helped you out, please share it with others. That helps us out more than you know. And before we go, O blessed justice, judgment from on high, rain down on us with the great latter rain, that we may raise up a shout from the earth that will be heard throughout all of the heavens, that justice, peace, and mercy will prevail in this world, and that none will have cause to fear. Because like what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah when they were burnt to ashes from fire in the sky, those who are inhospitable to their neighbors have nothing but pity upon them. Amen.
Amen.